please, 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 just give me 5 to 7 minutes of your time, and I guarantee that you will leave here entertained and satisfied. This is free, so money back guarantee. Please just stick around. I see y'all clicking off after 30 seconds. Just stick around for 5 to 7 minutes. Give me time to warm up. Welcome to my channel. This is Case by Case, and I am Casey, and this is season 1, episode 5 review of 1,000-Pound Roomies. Without further ado, I'm going to get into the review. Okay, and so we picked up pretty much where we left off, season 1, episode 4. Nisha is in the woods pretty much crying to her friends about Jazz. And essentially what she was saying was she feels like the cult has turned her into a people pleaser. And she feels like that's why she just goes above and beyond for Jazz. Like it's a part of her people pleasing. And I actually think that Nisha has a point. I grew up in the church. I'm a pew baby. I definitely see the link between people pleasing and growing up in the church. It's like a Christian to people pleaser pipeline for sure. And I think that's because, as a Christian, you want to come off as good. You want to seem like very nice and approachable. And then you also, like, you're called to do things for people. I believe that there's really like a fine line between people pleasing and then just being like a regular good Christian, a regular good person. Because it's like at the end of the day, are you trying to get the approval of people or are you trying to get the approval of God? And so people pleasing, it's like a form of idolatry. And honestly, like people pleasing, it gets you nowhere because people will use you up until there's nothing left. And then at the end of the day, the first thing that will come out of their mouth is, I never asked you to do all that. And you'll be ready to crash out. And I know from experience, unfortunately, and at the end of the day, it'll be nothing but you and God left. And so it's very important just to keep him first, always. The day that I stopped caring so much about what people think about me was one of the best days of my life. Most importantly is God's opinion about you above everyone else's. And you'll have so much peace. Okay, so back to Nisha crying in the woods. And then she said that at this point, nothing she's doing is making Jazz happy. And so we see her at her breaking point pretty much with the people pleasing. It is not Nisha's responsibility to make Jazz happy. It is not your responsibility to make anyone happy. It is said individual's responsibility to make said individual happy. Happiness is a choice. It is very possible to be caring and considerate without overextending yourself. And the truth of the matter is, neglecting yourself and neglecting your needs to make someone else happy, it only ends in burnout and resentment for that person or resentment towards that person. And so it just never ends well. And so I feel like that's what we're seeing right now with Nisha and Jazz. She's burnt out trying to please Jazz, and she's starting to resent her for it. But Nisha's friends are trying to encourage her in this moment and tell her to say no pretty much to Jazz, which is good advice. But if you have ever been a people pleaser, you know it's not that easy. It takes time to shake that bad habit. And then after they're done talking about Jazz, pretty much they start heading back to the cabin. Meanwhile, at the cabin, Jazz is talking to Tiff. Jazz tells Tiff that she can feel that Nisha is starting to get frustrated with her, but she feels like Nisha just doesn't understand her situation or understands what she's going through. Jazz also tells Tiff that her doctor recommended that she goes to therapy. Okay, and Jazz is actually feeling a little bit leery about going to therapy, but Tiff said pretty much it'll be a good thing for her. And she also notices that the tension is really thick between her and Nisha. And so maybe she can bring up Nisha in the therapy session. Tiff seems like a really good friend. She's a great listener. She doesn't play both sides and she gives pretty good advice. And so I like Tiff. After they finish talking, Tiff also suggests that they clean up, and so they clean up the cabin. Once the other ladies make it back to the cabin, Nisha is so happy that they actually cleaned up. You could tell she feels relieved because that's probably something else that she was worried about having to do since she's been doing everything for this trip. And then Nisha thanks them for cleaning up, and then Nisha actually gives Jazz a hug, and that was nice to see. I feel like that was like, a step in the right direction for them, and they're starting to make up a bit. So we'll see. I feel like they still have work to do, but that was a good step in the right direction. Okay, next scene, we see Jazz at home and she's weighing herself. She currently weighs in at 533 pounds, and so she has 33 pounds left to go to get approved for weight loss. And she lets Nisha know that she has decided to finally stop taking the weight loss shots. And of course, Nisha is super happy about that. Okay, fast forward, and Jazz has been off the shot for a while now, and she finally starts to get her appetite back. And so, to apologize to Nisha for the way she behaved on the cabin trip, she actually orders a whole bunch of food so they can share some food so they can bond over the burger. Okay, and so Jazz, once she got the food, they pretty much set it up in her bedroom, on the bed, and Jazz hadn't moved. And so she kept asking Nisha pretty much to go back and forth to get her stuff for the food, like plates, forks, condiments, or whatever. And then Anisha is starting to get annoyed with her. And then Jazz's excuse was that her knee was bothering her and that's why she couldn't get up. And then, like, on the third or fourth trip to the kitchen, the dog had got into the garbage. And so it was garbage all over the floor. And then Jazz asked Nisha before she cleaned up the garbage, could she bring her some hot sauce? And see, Nisha better than me, because me, she would have got a piece of my mind. Yeah, that would have sent me over the edge. Like, girl, you don't hobble yourself over here and get it yourself. And so Nisha was like, yeah, when we getting this knee fixed? And I'm with Nisha on this one, because, yeah, she was doing too much. She was being annoying with it. And then in a confessional, Nisha said pretty much that she thought that Jazz will be getting better by now, after being off the shots for a while, but she's actually still immobile. And so Nisha's pretty much tired of, helping her out, and being her errand girl. She's kind of fed up with Jazz. The next scene, Nisha is at work with her mom. She works for her mom at home daycare, and she's at work, and her mom, Deidre, pretty much says, I need to talk to you in private. And so they go and sit on the couch and they talk. Okay, and then Nisha's mom, Deidre, she drops the bomb. She pretty much says that she's ready to retire and she's shutting down the daycare shortly. And so, of course, Nisha was upset by this, and she felt like her mom was pretty much being inconsiderate. She didn't consider her when she made this decision. And I would have to agree. She said that she's closing the daycare down by the end of the month. And I thought that was like very inconsiderate. I felt like she could have given Nisha more notice. Like, you knew you were considering retiring and closing down the daycare. Like, you could have told your daughter ahead of time so she could at least find another job. People got bills and it's very expensive nowadays. Like, life is expensive. And so I did think that was very inconsiderate. And so Nisha starts crying, and like immediately right after her mom notices that she was crying, she says, I thought about it and I cried over it too. And she says that she considered how it would affect everybody. She said, obviously not me. Her mom says that she's always thinking about her. And when she says her, she means Nisha. Nisha feels like her mom has never made her a priority. And she felt like even in the past, she put like the cult in the church above her as a child. And Nisha expresses to her mom that she feels like she pretty much just left her with no options. And her mom was like, you're talented. You can do hair, makeup, cook, anything. And Nisha pretty much was like, yeah, but this is like so abrupt and like there's pretty much no time. I just got to figure something out. And then her mama said to her, I know you needed more time, but I know you're going to make it. No thanks to you, pal. Yeah, I'm going to make it, but no thanks to you, pal. Okay, and so in the confessional, Deidre, Nisha's mom, she pretty much says that she wants Nisha to blossom into who she's meant to be, and she wants her to grow pretty much without Deidre's assistance. And she wants Nisha's next phase of her life to be one that she decided. This lady, she is really starting to grind my gears. It's like she is throwing Nisha in the water with no swimming lessons, no formal training, and then being disappointed in Nisha for drowning and needing rescue. It's like she's not taking accountability for the part that she played in raising her own daughter. And then she did something that I really didn't like. It's something that I've seen church people do before, and I can't stand it. And what I mean by that is she's saying things and doing things like almost like in a caring way, in a caring tone, very flowery, very sweet. But meanwhile, what you're doing is very negative, it's very nasty. And so it's giving passive aggressive. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like almost like manipulation. Like it comes off as very sweet and nice, but it's an insult. and it leaves you very confused because it's like, did she just insult me? Like, have I been insulted? And yes, you have. You've been insulted. And so that's what she's doing. I don't know where they learned that at, but that's what she's doing. And so I got your number, lady. I got your number, pal. I got your number, buddy. I got your number, sister girl. I seen that before. Yeah, I saw right through that mess. Yeah, I've seen that before. You ain't slick. I've seen it before. I got your number. And I'm going to call it. Okay, and then again, like I said, I think it was episode 2 or 3, my review. I said that she's very condescending to her daughter. Yeah, I feel the same way. She's very condescending to Nisha. Okay, and then another thing Nisha said to her mom, she said, at this size, what job can I really get? And then her mom was like, how many times did I tell you, if you wanted to do weight loss, I would help you with your weight loss journey? And then Nisha was like, here we go, here we go, here we go again.
Here we go
again. Here we go again. And Nisha goes down the list. She says she ain't taking no shots, no surgery, no walks, no diet, no yoga, no swimming, no bikes, no hiking. She ain't getting on no plane. She ain't taking no train. I'm just playing. I do not eat green eggs and ham. She says she wants to lose the weight naturally, and she feels like her mom is like obsessed with her weight. And again, like I said, Nisha ain't trying to lose no weight. I think that was episode 3 review. I said that Nisha uses her weight as like a manipulation tactic, as something to hold over her mom's head. And I believe I'm right. This is confirming what I already like predicted. Nisha is not losing no weight until her mama apologized to her. And so, yeah, that just confirmed it for me. I told you so. I told you so. I told you so.
I don't know why you're telling me. I'm not involved. You made that very clear.
And then Deidre was like, there's a whole new world out there for you, Nisha. It's a whole new world. And then Nisha go give her a thumbs up. She was like, because she clock it too. Like, cause she doing that passive aggressive church lady stuff that I was talking about. Yeah, Nisha know. I don't know what you would call this, but it's like very passive aggressive, very fake. But Nisha says, you feel how you feel, and I can't change that, obviously. It just doesn't feel good because, you know, she's losing her job. And so that was that. Her mama said, appreciate you. Hope you can understand. Again, very passive aggressive. Okay, and then as Nisha was leaving out, they showed like her confessional, and she said she pretty much feels abandoned all over again. It was just like when she left the cult and then her mom wouldn't leave the cult. Okay, and then next scene we see Nisha making cupcakes. She got her side hustle going already, and she's got some orders to fill, some cupcake orders to fill. Jazz is helping Nisha make her cupcakes, and she brings up that she signed up for a chair aerobics class, and she wants Nisha to take her to the aerobics class. And Nisha lets her know that that's the same day she has to deliver the cupcakes, and so she can't go to the aerobics class with her. Jazz has to go by herself. Okay, next thing we see Jazz going to the therapy session she was talking to Tiff about. And it is a requirement for weight loss surgery that you attend some therapy sessions. So the therapist, he looks very nice, very much so someone you can open up to and tell all of your business. He's giving Bob Ross. He's giving Mr. Rogers. In the session, Jazz talks about growing up and being upset with her mom for being in an abusive relationship. And she talks about how she actually continued the cycle and she was actually in an abusive relationship as well. And she's out of that relationship now. And she said once she finally got out of that relationship, she didn't want to be in another relationship ever again. Okay, and then the therapist asked, why is that? Why she didn't want to be in a relationship anymore. And so the therapist asked why she didn't want to get into another relationship. And she said pretty much it's because she hated herself. And she hated the way she looked and how much weight she put on. And then she also said, you never want to hear the truth about yourself. And then the doctor asks, what do you think the truth is? And she said something so heartbreaking. She said, I am a loser. And then the therapist instantly said, you are not a loser. You feel like a loser. And he let her know that she has the power to control her thinking and the way she thinks about herself. And I 100% agree with the therapist. As the man thinketh, so is he. What you constantly think about, you are. You are exactly who you think you are. You are what you say you are. Have no fear. But you are what you say you are. And what's crazy is Nisha is too delusional and Jazz isn't delusional enough. There is so much power in what you say. There is power in the tongue. Death and life lay in the tongue. And so it's so very important what you say to yourself and what you say to others, because it is that deep. If nobody else is going to encourage you, you better encourage yourself. Encourage yourself in the Lord. A few years ago, I went through one of the hardest seasons that I ever went through. And it lasted a long time. But during this time, I learned to really it was just me and God. And so I didn't have nothing else. And so I really learned to just talk to myself nicely. Like I had to encourage myself. That was the other thing. I isolated myself as well. And so all I had was to encourage myself. I really related to Jazz in this moment because I used to talk to myself so negatively. And I did a lot of complaining during this period. And it wasn't until I started to encourage myself that I saw my situation start to change. I actually did a story time about this as well. I'm going to link it below. I need to finish it. I still haven't did part 3, but it's coming, I promise. And also be nice to me. This is when I was first starting out on YouTube that I recorded these stories, so they're a little rough around the edges, but I definitely will do part 3 eventually soon. Anyways, if you haven't seen those videos, long story short, I pretty much went from my highest high to my lowest low. I was considered like a golden child, and things usually came easy to me. And it was up until I hit the workforce pretty much. And then that's when things really became challenging for me. And I was failing miserably. There's no way to sugarcoat it. I was just failing. Anything I tried, I was failing. Anything that could go wrong did go wrong. And so I was fired and my car was stolen in the same week during this period. On top of that, I kept getting sick. Like back to back, I was getting sick. I had bronchitis. I had the flu. I had something I didn't even know what it was. I had COVID. And then, did I say bronchitis?
I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I had bronchitis. Oh, and then I had a boil on top of all that. If things weren't bad enough, let's just throw a boil on top of that. And so, yeah, I was going through. I would definitely say that this was like my Job year for sure. But during this season, I really had to look beyond my situation, beyond what was happening to me. And I really learned to depend on God. And I really learned to like stop the pity party, to cut out the negative self-talk and complaining. I was a big complainer. I learned to stop complaining. And when I would go out during this time, I would put on my happy face and I would just go on like about my regular business. But then when I get home and it's just me in my room, I was sliding down the wall.
It's just me and you. I feel so lost.
Alone in the room. Yeah, anytime Yolanda Adams came on, alone in the room, I was sliding down the wall. Yeah, but once I stopped with all the self-pity, I really started to like just talk to myself and talk to my situation. And that's what you got to do sometimes. You got to talk to your situation. The church mothers was right. You got to tell that thing to stop. I told the storm, oh yes I did, to pass and go away. I command you to move today. I will be okay. During this time, like my favorite scripture, I would say that like helped transform like the way I thought about things and help with all my negativity is Philippians 4:8. I'm going to read it. It says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. I absolutely love that scripture. I feel like it completely changed like the way I thought during that time. Like it was such a dark time, and so it helped reframe like my line of thinking. Like think on things that are good and worth praise. Like, and some people would try to say that it's like toxic positivity. And I would say to that, no, it's not, because you acknowledge the negativity. It's hard not to acknowledge. It's all around you. It's hard not to acknowledge. You going through it, like it's on you, and so it's impossible to not acknowledge what's really going on. What's your reality? But what you do is you give it to God and you think on the good things, and that helps you get through your situation. It's not toxic positivity. It's faith. It's having faith that although things don't look good right now, hallelujah, although things don't look good right now, all things are working together for my good. And you have to believe that. You know, I'm encouraging myself right now. Woo! When Jazz was calling herself a loser, like it really reminded me of this time. And during this time, I was calling myself a failure. Jazz, you are not a loser. You are what God says you are, and you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Anyways, Dr. Samuels, he says that you put the weight on because of your thinking. It's your mind. It's all in your mind. And he says that even if you lose the weight and you don't change your negative thinking, you're still going to relapse on food and you're just going to gain the weight back. Okay, so Dr. Samuels believes that Jazz is an addict, and he believes that it's fueled by her negative thinking and her low self-esteem. One thing that he said that stood out to me, he said that addicts love being alone and sitting in shame and misery. Isolation is of the devil. Don't you sit alone in sadness and waste away. You better get up.
Come on, get up. Come on, get up out of it. Come on. Get up out of it. Come on. Get up out of it. Pull through it. Come on.
Okay, and then in the end, Dr. Samuels recommends that Jazz attends more therapy sessions and that she joins Overeaters Anonymous. He said Overeaters Anonymous specifically because he feels like she needs a community. And then he asks, does she have any friends? And Jazz says besides her roommate, she has 2 other friends. And then they discuss whether or not Nisha is helpful on her weight loss journey. Jazz said that Nisha's not helpful. Her therapist says that you need to be honest with Nisha about how you feel. And I would say that the therapy session ended off pretty hopeful, and that I think it's another step in the right direction for Jazz as far as her weight loss journey. Next scene, we're back at their apartment and we see that Nisha is getting the cupcakes ready for delivery, and Jazz brings up her chair aerobics class. Nisha said that I never said that I could take you. And then Jazz gets mad at Nisha, and then this turns into an argument. And then they roll the clip back, and Nisha is right. She never said that she could take Jazz. She said that she would have to deliver the cupcakes on the same day, and that Jazz would have to take herself. And so, yeah, Nisha was right. Jazz did, in fact, hear what she wanted to hear.
God bless you. Yeah. Girl, it's time to wrap this up.
And then Bree, the enabler, she rolls in while they arguing, and it's like super awkward because they just arguing back and forth. And then she there just waiting to take Nisha to deliver these cupcakes. And then we see Jazz getting in her Uber all mad at Nisha. And it's truly laughable because Nisha never said that she would take Jazz. So Jazz is just mad for no reason. And I honestly think the real reason that Jazz is mad is because she doesn't want to do the class alone. She really thought that Nisha would be there for her, and it's kind of codependent, and so she thought she would have somebody there with her. But honestly, you got to do things by yourself sometimes, and I truly get that. It can be very lonely doing things by yourself, but you got to do what you got to do. And the more you do it, you expose yourself to doing things by yourself, it definitely gets easier and even enjoyable. Sometimes you want to do things by yourself. You get used to that solitude. It feels better, easier. Meanwhile, while Jazz is at the aerobics class, Nisha and Bree are right around town feeding each other cupcakes. So Jazz wasn't wrong about that. Come to find out, it was a scheme set up by Todd. Come to find out, Jazz was not wrong about that.
It could have been a scheme that Todd set up for him to come to you with the bush.
But Jazz calls Nisha when she arrives safely at the chair aerobics class, and then she pretty much demands an apology from Nisha. And at this point, Jazz has officially made it to my list. Nisha was on my list last week. Now Jazz has moved on up. She's at the top of my list.
All you girls will be on my list.
Honestly, she has some audacity. She has some gall. Like, she is dead wrong in this situation. And to be calling Nisha up, demanding an apology is just ridiculous. It's clear that Jazz is upset that Nisha isn't on this weight loss journey with her. But to be honest, I feel like it's been pretty evident that Nisha isn't serious about this weight loss journey, and that Jazz is in it by herself. She's been in it by herself for a while now, and so I don't really understand her like being so upset now. And of course, Nisha and Bree went out to eat after they delivered the cupcakes. It looked like a soul food restaurant. I saw like a soul food restaurant. I saw like chicken and greens and mac and cheese. The food did look good. But of course, they went out to eat. And then Jazz FaceTimed them while they were out to eat. And this was funny. Nisha tried to act like she wasn't eating. She tried to act like she was still at the place delivering cupcakes. And then she turned the camera around and showed all the food. Well, it was bones by the time Jazz had called. And she showed all the bones and the empty plates. And they were just joking about it. And then Nisha was saying she was glad that they could joke like old times, like how they used to do. Next scene, we see Nisha driving Jazz to the hospital. It's officially the big day. It's Jazz's weigh-in day to see if she qualifies for weight loss surgery. And Jazz weighs in at 530 pounds, which is 30 pounds over the goal that she had. So she was supposed to be 500 pounds. And so the episode ends with Jazz crying that she didn't reach her weight loss goal. But honestly, based off the previews, it looks like Jazz does get approved for the weight loss surgery, because it looks like she was like in the hospital bed and everything. And so we'll see what happens next week. I'm looking forward to that episode. And that is the season finale next week as well. I am so sorry. This review was 1 week. Now it's 1 week and 1 day late. I had a lot to say and not enough time to record it all, but this was a great episode. So much happened. I hope you enjoyed my review. Please let me know down in the comments if you enjoyed this review. Let me know if you have any comments about the episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you if you made it this far. I really appreciate it. All right. Bye.